Lewis Hamilton's signing with Ferrari was not just the biggest racing move in modern F1 history, but also a statement. A 7-time world champion joins Formula One's most legendary team for one last shot at glory. But 5 races into the 2025 season, that fairy tale has gone grim. McLaren is the clear leader. Red Bull is inconsistent but dangerous. And Ferrari, they are underperforming badly. Enter the unexpected twist. Hamilton's unannounced visit to Maranello, not for the cameras or public relations, but to get his hands dirty and help the team develop right before the Miami GP. Not only has he pushed himself into development, but he has also apparently taken the lead on feedback loops that will shape Ferrari's next upgrade package. Is this the beginning of a mid-season revival? Or is it just the calm before the storm? One thing is certain. Hamilton's choice to double down on Ferrari's technology program could be the defining moment of their 2025 campaign. Right now, after only 5 races into the 2025 Formula One season, Ferrari and Lewis Hamilton find themselves in a far more difficult situation than anyone expected. While McLaren leads with 188 points out of a possible 215, Ferrari trails significantly, 110 points behind the leaders, and even below Mercedes and Red Bull in the constructors' standings. The SF25, Ferrari's boldest and most ambitious car under existing ground effect restrictions, has yet to deliver on its promise. But, behind the scenes, something has changed. Lewis Hamilton's surprise visit to Maranello may have set the tone for what is to come. Multiple sources reveal that Hamilton has spent more time in Ferrari's simulator and technical facilities in recent days, not just attempting to adapt his own driving style to the anomalies of the SF25, but also actively cooperating on a new wave of upgrades set to appear in Imola. Hamilton's engagement is not purely symbolic. According to Ferrari insiders, the 7-time world champion provided extensive input following the Bahrain, Jeddah, and Shanghai rounds, highlighting problems in rear-end stability, entry-phase braking reaction, and tyre performance under high fuel loads. It's no secret that Hamilton has historically battled with cars with low rear grip, a problem that plagued his last several years at Mercedes and continues with the SF25. Team boss Frederic Vasseur acknowledged the challenge. He had a decent second stint as long as he was in clean air, but he struggled all weekend. We are having too many ups and downs, but so is he. We all need to be more consistent even in FP3 to better prepare for qualifying. Ferrari's inferiority in qualifying is obvious. The SF25 struggles particularly in the slow and medium-speed corners, precisely where McLaren shines. The car is excessively sensitive to ride height, and even with the Bahrain floor changes, it hasn't found the aerodynamic consistency needed across varied fuel loads. The team's data shows a considerable drop-off in downforce as the car becomes heavier, making early race stints difficult to manage. That was obvious again in Jeddah, where Charles Leclerc drove brilliantly to the podium, but Hamilton finished 7th, more than 30 seconds behind. Speaking post-race, Hamilton was blunt. "It was horrible, not enjoyable at all. I was just sliding around. It's pretty bad. I don't have an answer. I don't know how much longer I'll struggle for, but it's definitely painful," he went on. "Just going to try and improve from week to week. At the moment, there is no fix, so this is how it's going to be for the rest of the year." Despite the gloomy atmosphere, Ferrari refuses to worry. Vasseur emphasized that the team has recognized its weak points and that fresh enhancements will be delivered very soon, possibly in time for Imola, despite Miami's sprint format limiting preparation time. "If we are not further ahead, it is because of qualifying, that is clear. The pace has always been very good in the race," he said. "We need to be more consistent throughout the weekend, in all the sessions. When you understand where the problems are, you can work to solve them, and we think we have understood where to intervene." Much of this involvement is the result of ongoing collaboration between Leclerc, Hamilton, and Ferrari's engineering team. With Hamilton delving deeper into simulator runs and delivering more rigorous feedback, Vasseur believes they can finally provide the rear-end stability he requires. They'll need it. Ferrari currently trails McLaren by a significant margin, while they are only slightly ahead of Red Bull, whose second driver has underperformed. The pressure is mounting, not only from fans and analysts, but also from within Ferrari, whose hopes of competing for a title were high entering 2025. Ferrari's first improvement package in Bahrain provided some relaxation, but it was not revolutionary. What follows, reportedly a reworked rear suspension component and changed floor geometry, will be the actual test of their evolutionary path. Hamilton's transition to the SF25 has proven more difficult than expected. In qualifying, it's me extracting performance, and in the race, I tried everything, and the car just didn't want to go any quicker, added the driver. The balance concerns he has, rear instability under braking and mid-corner understeer, reflect the characteristics that made the W13 and W14 Mercedes cars so difficult for him. Many people predicted that the SF25 would be more suited to Leclerc than any Ferrari since the F175. These forecasts have proven correct. But as Vasseur noted, it's not the team that pushes Charles or Charles that pushes the team. We are all in the same boat. That includes Hamilton, whose adaptation will now become central to whether Ferrari's 2025 campaign can be salvaged. While Leclerc has led the team in terms of results, Hamilton's experience is already influencing Ferrari's technical progress. And, while he isn't yet the headlining act on Sundays, his behind-the-scenes labour at Maranello could be the spark that creates a turnaround. With new advancements on the horizon and Hamilton more involved than ever, Ferrari is counting heavily on the next few races to tell a very different story. The SF25 is a project that is too sensitive to ground clearance, even if slightly mitigated by the new floor that debuted in Bahrain, which is why it shares a problem with the now forgotten SF23, namely, a first phase of the race that is less performing than the SF25 can show as the tank gradually depletes. This is because the low speeds, sometimes more than 10 km per hour slower, when travelling with a full tank, cause the aerodynamic platform to work higher up than in the last half of the race, and the SF25 loses more aerodynamic load than its opponents. It is no coincidence that we saw the best Ferrari under race circumstances in the sprint in China, with setups tuned for only 35 kilograms in the tank, and that Lewis Hamilton only felt at ease for those 100 kilometers. We will see in Miami. Lewis Hamilton was expected to begin 2025 by adapting and grasping the new work environment and technical material available, but not with the challenges he's shown on the track. The 7-time world champion is the first to be self-critical, with harsh words that also have a bad outlook for the near future. I think I will struggle in Miami too, but the problem is that I still don't know how long I will continue to struggle, and this is undoubtedly frustrating, Hamilton said, after the Jeddah race. This weekend is clearly the English driver's worst with Ferrari, even though he started it with optimism, convinced he had made progress in understanding the driving style in Bahrain. The 7-time world champion has always suffered from the light rear of all Mercedes of this regulatory era, and he cannot be considered lucky if we consider that, in recent seasons, Ferrari has always had cars with more problems on the front than on the rear, if we want almost more in the direction of Sainz. So much so that Charles Leclerc has never been able to open a big gap with respect to the Spanish driver. However, with the SF25, the balance has completely changed, even in terms of design, to the point where a high-level engineer in the pre-season identified the SF25 as the best car for Charles Leclerc's driving style, alongside the F175. It is evident that they are not yet where they would like to be at Maranello, but the one paying the most for it is Lewis Hamilton, who suffers greatly from the SF25's weak rear at high speeds and while braking, as well as understeer that manifests itself further ahead in the turns. Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari attempted to tweak the car to fit it to his driving style through the settings during the first races, but they realized that the 7-time world champion must also change his driving style to the SF25. However, it may not be so simple and, more importantly, instantaneous, as the 7-time world champion is unsure how long he will suffer. Ferrari finds itself at a crossroads. McLaren is running away. Red Bull is lurking. Mercedes is regrouping. And in the midst of it all is a team, with one car performing and another, driven by one of the best of all time, still looking for its groove. Hamilton's enlarged role at Maranello is a significant step. It indicates that this is more than just a one-year adaptation arc. It's a wartime Ferrari. All hands are on deck. And, with additional enhancements on the way, and Hamilton now helping determine the SF25's path, the debate has shifted from if they can turn things around to how fast. Will Imola be the turning point in Ferrari's season? Can Hamilton overcome the early season setbacks and propel Leclerc to new heights? Will this year be another chapter in Ferrari's lengthy history of unfulfilled potential? Let us know what you think. Is Hamilton the missing technical piece Ferrari needed? Can the new upgrades close the gap to McLaren? And is there still time to rescue this championship dream? The clock is ticking, and Maranello knows it.